Hello, dear colleagues. My name is Wongayi from Youth Against Alcoholism and Drug Dependency in Zimbabwe, and my presentation is titled Evidence-Based Study, a Priority to Sustainable Drug Prevention Interventions. Africa swells with riches, and with her demography of over 1 billion inhabitants, she has abundant human capital, most importantly a young population of over 65%, which sits on top of great economic, social, health, and political potential. Africa has vast opportunities, yet all that promise is under serious threat. With an emerging crisis of drug, harmful, and hazardous use, lies a gap of how evidence-based study can reveal the extent to which the continent is losing out because the youths are hooked on one addiction or the other. In this presentation, I shall examine how most interventions in the case of Zimbabwe are not study-based interventions, hence are becoming unsustainable. It is very important to understand the alcohol history of Southern Africa in order to compare the patterns of consumption and use of alcohol and other drugs respectively. At some point, bottled beer was prohibited from black Africans until 1962. Until then, black Africans were only allowed to consume their traditional homemade or packed brews. The bottled beer independence of 1962 created a false status of success, privilege, and freedoms. Hence, it prompted a rise in the use of alcohol, and today, over 65 years later, the false independence attached to alcohol consumption contributes to heavy drinking and arguably leads to drugs use initiation. Alcohol consumption patterns, its initiation risk factors, provide a key overview of the drugs crisis. They carry almost similar end products as they tax on the social, economic, and individual health. Most scholars suggest that prevention research is evolving and will continue to develop as a direct consequence of more complex theoretical and conceptual thinking. More valid and reliable measures of drug-related problems, better understanding of individual risk factors, better identification of individual groups and groups at high risk, better research and design and long-term follow-up studies, and better integration across various settings, family, school, community, religious, and criminal justice. Prevention programs should be tailored to address a risk specific to population or audience characteristics such as gender, age, and ethnicity to improve program effectiveness. Current preventative interventions in Zimbabwe are based on the uniformity of behavioral patterns. However, the differences in the risk and protective factors call for a need to fill the gap that is lacking due to the evidence-based study in Zimbabwe. The following example is a typical example of the Zimbabwean youth. Jacuzzi is an ordinary man, and he has very limited space because he lives in a high-density area in Glenview, Harare, and hence he has very little time to self-actualize. He got his passes at secondary school, but his parents couldn't afford him further education. He hasn't been employed since he finished secondary school in 2001, so he occasionally peddles marijuana and prescribed drugs and prescribed cough syrup called Bronclear. He is married but seldom sleeps at home. He dances the nights away in local clubs with different kind of girls, which he pays for overnight sexual encounters. Whether he is using protection or not, it is anyone's guess. His government has no policy against drugs or alcohol. More focus is being put on the economic and political issues. So today, Jacuzzi is lying on his bed. It's been weeks now, and his health is deteriorating. He's been coughing endlessly, and he has lost a lot of weight. It is imperative to place this example with and authenticate it with indigenous research, then provide specific interventions rather than applying assumed methods based on the uniformity of drug use patterns or behaviors. Lack of research-based study culminates in serious health illiteracy. Hence, most Zimbabweans lack the knowledge that a drug-free society is a fundamental freedom. Thank you.